Discover the incredible truth, 5 life-changing moments that led to my sister stealing my fiancé. In the small, sun-kissed town of Maplewood, everyone knows your name, and secrets are as hard to keep as a summer breeze. Tucked away in this heartwarming chaos was Lucy, a 28-year-old waitress at the local diner, dreaming of the world beyond the comfort of her community. With her younger sister Emily always at her side, they were 2 peas in a pod, loyal, loving, and deeply bonded. But when Lucy's high school sweetheart, Jake, proposed and threw a shining ring into her life, the very fabric of their sisterhood began to fray. "Do you have any idea how hard it was for me to walk away from you?" Emily had whispered through tears that choked her voice. Those words echoed in Lucy's heart like a haunting melody, the first tender crack in their relationship. She had 2 futures before her, one where she could finally attend college and chase her dreams, and another where she'd remain the rock for Emily, who had just faced a painful breakup. Torn, she chose to comfort her sister, not knowing the seeds of resentment were being sown with every compassionate gesture. As weeks passed, the tight-knit community buzzed with wedding plans. But beneath the surface, Emily's feelings for Jake, innocent at first, bloomed into something deeper. Jealousy crept in like a slow tide, darkening her thoughts. Memories of shared childhood dreams and sweet best friend moments faded like old photographs. Each laugh they shared became a shadowy reminder of their growing distance. Meanwhile, Lucy remained blissfully busy, soaked in wedding preparations, planning a day that should have epitomized happiness. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The confrontation happened one fateful evening in their childhood home, walls adorned with memories of joy and laughter that suddenly felt suffocating. "You don't see what you're doing to me, Lucy." Emily's voice cracked like fragile glass. Lucy's chest tightened, a storm brewing beneath her calm exterior. Each word they exchanged was a weapon. Shouldn't family loyalty withstand the weight of personal desires? But their fierce love started to flicker and fade under the harsh lights of jealousy and betrayal. Then came the Harvest Festival, a cherished Maplewood tradition that celebrated unity, a last chance for reconnection. The vivid colors of autumn shimmered around them, laughter spilled into the evening air like a warm hug. At that moment, it felt like a flicker of hope ignited, challenging them to confront their fears, their love, their bond. But as stars dotted the sky, both sisters felt the shadows of their unspoken thoughts lingering, stirring doubts and uncertainties. Would their relationship survive this? As the wedding approached, Emily's attachment to Jake intensified like a wildfire, and Lucy became resolute in her dream. The community watched closely as tensions escalated. Would love and loyalty triumph, or would personal desires tear them apart forever? The ticking clock loomed large over their fragile bond, and the answer seemed just out of reach. The crisp autumn air hung heavy with an unspoken tension as Lucy stepped into the bustling warmth of the Maplewood diner. The familiar scent of coffee and bacon enveloped her like an embrace, but today it felt oddly alien. She was supposed to be swept up in wedding planning, excitement sparking at every corner. Instead, an unsettling knot twisted in her stomach. As she walked toward her usual station, Lucy spotted Emily sitting at a booth, her eyes fixated on the window. The evening sun cast a golden glow, but Emily's expression was clouded with something darker. Lucy approached, forcing a bright smile. "Hey, sis. You ready for the Harvest Festival tonight?" Emily looked up, her gaze flickering with a mixture of enthusiasm and apprehension. "Yeah, sure. It'll be fun." But the flatness of her voice cut deep. Lucy sat down across from her, trying to bridge the distance that was widening between them. "You know, maybe we should dress up together like we used to. Just like the old days?" A brief smile crossed Emily's lips, then vanished. I don't think I can. Things are different now." Lucy felt the distance of those words hit her like a cold wave. Different how? Emily clenched her hands, knuckles white against the table. You're getting married, Luce. I should be happy for you, but I can't help feeling lost. The pain in Emily's voice pierced Lucy's heart, twisting it with guilt. You're not losing me. We're still sisters, we can talk about it. As if a dam were breaking, Emily shook her head fiercely, eyes glistening. You don't understand. I feel like I'm losing you to him. Silence exploded between them. Lucy's heart raced, the truth unsaid hanging heavily in the air. She had sensed Emily's unease, but hearing it spoken aloud felt like a fracture in their bond. You don't have to worry about Jake taking me away. He loves you too, you know. Emily's expression faltered, and for a breath, Lucy thought she would confess the deepening feeling she had seen in her sister's eyes. Instead, she looked away. Let us not do this here, Emily said softly, the fighting spirit gone. I just need time to think. Emily. Lucy called after her as she slipped out of the diner. The door chimed plaintively, echoing the unresolved conflict. Their festival was supposed to be a beacon of hope, a chance for renewal. Lucy began to prepare mentally for the night ahead, yet dread settled in her chest. She took a deep breath, steeling herself. What if there were a way to repair the cracks threatening to splinter their sister bond? As the evening unfurled, vibrant lights danced against the night, pulsing with laughter and music. Still, the shadows of their unspoken fears loomed large. What would it take to mend the invisible rift? With a lump in her throat, she sought Emily's gaze through the crowd, knowing that love alone might not be enough to dissolve the tension brewing in this small town. Then she spotted Jake near the apple cider booth, laughing with friends, his warm smile sending a flicker of comfort through her heart. But it was the glance he shot at Emily, lingering longer than the others, that made Lucy's stomach drop. Horror washed over her. Did he notice the same spark between them? Just then, Emily moved closer, eyes flickering between the two. Lucy's heart raced. Tonight was supposed to be a celebration, yet here they stood on the brink of chaos. Would she confront Jake? Would Emily speak up? As the festival celebration pulsed around them, an urgent question hung in the air. What would happen when secrets clashed and hearts finally collided? The festival lights flickered like uncertain stars, casting playful shadows over the throngs of people. Lucy felt the warmth of music and laughter swirl around her, but it felt distant, muffled by the weight of worry pressing on her chest. She could see Jake through the crowd, his laugh bright and infectious, yet that spark, the one she once found so comforting, now filled her with uncertainty. Hey, Lucy. Come join us. A familiar voice cut through her thoughts. It was Sarah, waving wildly from a nearby game booth, a bright smile lighting up her face. Lucy mustered a smile in response, yearning to be swept away by the energy surrounding her. But her heart remained tethered to Emily. I'll be right there. She called, though her feet felt glued to the ground. As she swayed gently to the rhythm of the music, every sound felt amplified: the squeak of a carnival ride, the giggles of children running past, the sharp crack of someone winning a game. Each moment felt joyful yet tinged with a nagging anxiety. Would confronting Jake only amplify the rift with Emily? Taking a deep breath, Lucy stepped closer to the apple cider booth, her eyes scanning for the sisters' symbol of unity, the festive cider mugs with colorful ribbons tied around the handles. She took a moment to collect herself, but just then, she caught the flicker of a familiar face: Emily, standing just a few feet away, her gaze locked on Jake. Time froze. Lucy's heart raced, the knot tightening in her stomach again. The sight of her sister's expression, a blend of longing and despair, hit her harder than she expected. Emily's vulnerability had become bare, stripped down to raw emotion, and Lucy felt an irrational need to comfort her. But how could she without stepping on the delicate feelings threatening to unravel their relationship? Before she could make a decision, she heard Jake say something to Emily that made her freeze in place. So, are you excited about the festival tonight? Have you tried the apple cider yet? The way he leaned in, speaking earnestly to her sister, sent a jolt of heat through Lucy. Not yet, Emily replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Jake grinned, that boyish charm drawing Lucy in as it always did. Come on, I'll get you some. It's the best part of the festival. It felt like a punch to the gut. The casual way he placed his hand on Emily's shoulder struck a hollow chord inside Lucy. Was this what she feared? Their connection, once so pure, was morphing into something unwelcome, twisting her happiness into uncertainty. Jake! She called out, her voice a little too high and broken, pulling both their gazes toward her. They exchanged glances, shock mingling with guilt. A brief silence hung in the air before Lucy rushed in. Can I talk to you for a second? She needed clarity, needed answers. The chaos inside her demanded release. Jake nodded, glancing back at Emily with concern. Sure, everything okay? Lucy forced a smile, her heart racing. Yeah, just over here. She gestured toward a quieter area beyond the crowd, where the laughter softened to a distant thrum. As she stepped away, she caught sight of Emily's downcast face before her sister turned and walked away, leaving a tight knot unraveling in Lucy's chest. Did Emily take Jake's casual familiarity for something more? And why was she feeling this surge of possessiveness? When they were finally out of earshot from the festival chaos, Lucy felt a mix of determination and fear. Jake, we need to talk about Emily. About Emily? His brow furrowed, confusion painting his features. Yes. Something feels off, and she faltered, searching for the right words. But the crashing waves of her feelings left her adrift. Just then, the booming voice of the festival announcer floated through the air. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the annual apple pie eating contest right here. Would Jake realize what unspooled quietly beneath the surface? Or would their conversation ignite the very flames Lucy feared? Whether with laughter or heartbreak, she felt it was about to change everything. The moment Lucy's words hung in the air, the weight of the festival's cheer faded into a backdrop of uncertainty. She could feel her heart pounding, a steady drumbeat of fear and urgency. Jake's brow remained furrowed, and he searched her face with something that felt almost like concern. What do you mean, Lucy? He asked, softening his tone. There was a flicker of understanding, a glimpse of the boy she'd known for so long. But with that familiarity came the worry that he might not see the rift forming beneath their friendship. Lucy took a shaky breath, trying to ground herself. I see how you look at Emily. And I'm worried. It's like you two have this connection, and I don't want it to hurt her. His expression shifted, confusion giving way to realization. Lucy, it's not like that. Emily's my friend, but what? The words tumbled out before she could stop them, her voice rising slightly. You were her rock when she was struggling. I just don't want that to change, you know? I don't want her to think there is more going on. Jake stepped back as if the distance could shield him from the intensity of her feelings. I didn't mean to hurt you. It just happened. Hurt me? Lucy laughed, a shaky, disbelieving sound. This isn't about me. It's about Emily. She is fragile right now, especially with everything that's happened. Can't you see that? Jake's eyes narrowed with an emotion that flickered in and out of focus. And what about you, Lucy? Do you think this is easy for me? I'm trying to support both of you, and here you are doubting me. A flicker of anger sparked inside her. I'm not doubting you. I just want to protect my sister. Protect her? Or possess her? His voice cut through the tension like a knife, striking a chord Lucy hadn't expected to resonate. Don't twist my words. She shot back, hurt swelling in her stomach. She could feel hot tears brimming in her eyes, a storm of emotions raging. Before she could say anything else, the booming voice from the announcer blared through the crowd once again, get ready. The apple pie contest starts in 5 minutes. Don't miss it. It was a jarring reminder of the light-hearted chaos happening just a few feet away. The laughter and cheers seemed to mock the heaviness of their exchange. Jake's face softened, the irritation fading slightly, yet apprehension lingered like a cloud between them. Lucy, look, I really like Emily, but I don't want to hurt you, he said, stepping closer. But I can't just ignore what I feel. Each word felt like a pebble dropped in a still pond, sending ripples of confusion through everything she thought she knew. The urgency, the rush of emotions had her mind reeling. Did he just admit to having feelings for her sister? Or was it just friendly affection that had twisted into something more? Can you please just think about Emily? She murmured, her voice dropping to a low whisper. She can't take another heartbreak, not now. Jake nodded, his expression softening. I promise I'll be careful. But you need to talk to her too, even if it's hard. She needs to know how you feel. His words hung in the air like a fragile thread, one that felt ready to snap at any moment. As they both stood there, caught between friendship and family, a new wave of noise erupted from the festival. Laughter mixed with excitement as a crowd gathered for the pie contest, but all Lucy could focus on was uncertainty. Would she and Emily still stand together after this? Jake took a step back, sensing the gravity of the moment. Let us head back, okay? Before we lose them in the crowd. But as Lucy glanced over her shoulder, she saw Emily emerge again from the edge of the revelry, her eyes scanning the crowd. The sight made Lucy's heart drop once more. What if this festivity masked deeper undercurrents, tearing their world apart? She felt a profound urge to protect both parts of her life, but could she? And would speaking out lead her sister to further distance or deeper connection? Lucy's chest tightened. As she turned towards Jake, she realized one undeniable fact: this wasn't just about pie contests or festive lights anymore. Something bigger loomed ahead. Jake. Lucy started, but the crowd surged. Would their next steps together bring resolution or compounded heartbreak? The festival had just turned into a battleground for loves yet to be recognized, decisions yet to come. But one thing was clear: Lucy was ready for whatever truths would unravel. Lucy found herself standing at the crossroads of unspoken emotions and family loyalty. The air was thick with tension, a stark contrast to the jubilant energy of the festival around them. She had wanted a joyful day of celebration, but now it felt like a storm was brewing just beneath the surface. Let us go find Emily, she said, forcing a smile she didn't quite feel. The urge to protect her sister overwhelmed her, making her heart race. Jake nodded, but his expression was still heavy with conflicting feelings, his thoughts tangled in the aftermath of their conversation. As they pushed through the crowd, Lucy could feel the pulsing rhythm of celebration surrounding them. Laughter echoed around her, and children raced past, their faces painted with excitement. But all Lucy could focus on was the shadow that loomed over her. What if what she feared was true? Finally, they spotted Emily near the pie contest, a wide grin lighting up her face as a friend handed her a slice of steaming hot apple pie. The moment felt ethereal, a snapshot of joy to contrast with the turmoil in Lucy's heart. If only everything could remain this innocent, untainted by love's complexities. Look, she's happy. Jake exclaimed, a hint of relief washing over his features. Lucy nodded, feeling a pang of guilt. She wished she could feel the same sense of peace, but doubt clung to her like wet clothes. As they approached, Lucy steadied herself, preparing for the moment when she would voice all her fears. She needed to find the right words, to open the door to a conversation she was terrified of having. But before they could reach Emily, she spotted someone else: Max, a childhood friend of theirs, who had once had a crush on Lucy. His smile was warm, his charm still very much alive. Hey, Lucy. Jake. He called out, approaching them. You guys enjoying the festival? The pie contest is about to start. There was something about Max's presence that shifted the air. The carefree spirit he exuded wrapped around Lucy like a comforting blanket. For a second, she forgot the weight of her dilemma. Jake shot her a small, knowing glance, as if acknowledging that her focus had slipped momentarily away from their previous conversation. Emily joined them, pie slice in hand, her laughter ringing through the air. You won't believe how good this is. You have to try it. She reached out to offer Lucy a bite, a playful glint in her eyes. No, you go ahead. Lucy said, trying to mask the turmoil inside. She caught a glimpse of Jake's expression, still processing their earlier discussion. She could almost hear the unspoken words hanging between them. "Seriously, Lucy, just try it," Emily insisted, her enthusiasm infectious. With a reluctant smile, Lucy took a bite, the sweet crust and tangy filling providing an unexpected moment of bliss. Okay, you win." She chuckled, trying to push her worries aside for a moment longer. For an instant, Lucy felt the layers of tension peel away, just for them to revel in the shared joy of the event, but then, a shadow crossed Jake's face as he turned back to Emily. "Hey, can we talk? Just for a minute?" The tone in Jake's voice struck Lucy like a match to kindling. Anxiety flooded back, her heart thudding louder than the festival music. "Sure," Emily replied, her face brightening. But Lucy's heart sank. Would this be the moment when everything would shift? Lucy watched them step away from the warmth of the gathering, their bodies framing a small world unto themselves. Each step felt like a countdown, ticked away by the whispers of uncertainty. Would her fears about their budding feelings come to fruition? Had she acted too rashly? Or could this be a turning point, one that could either strengthen their bonds or tear them apart? As Emily and Jake moved further into the crowd, Lucy found herself stuck, heart racing and thoughts spiraling. All around her, laughter merging with the evening's cool breeze was a stark reminder that while life went on, her world hung in the balance. With her pulse quickening, Lucy made one decision in that moment: she had to follow them. To confront whatever was waiting on the other side. But would she emerge stronger and united, or would it all unravel? As she pushed through the throngs of festival-goers, she steeled herself for what lay ahead, knowing that tonight, not only her sister's heart but her own familial bond was on the line. "Emily." Lucy called out, "Wait." The question echoed in her mind: would she find clarity or chaos? Lucy pushed her way through the crowd, her eyes scanning for the familiar shapes of Emily and Jake. The tranquility around her felt almost surreal as the sounds of the festival seemed to fade, replaced by the rushing of her thoughts. What if Jake confessed feelings that could change everything? What would Emily say? Panic tightened her chest as she spotted them just ahead, standing at the edge of a small grove where the sounds of celebration seemed muffled. For a moment, they looked like two characters in a silent film. Emily's face was lit with that ever-familiar smile, while Jake's expression was more serious, locked in a moment of contemplation. "Do you really think this is just a phase?" Jake was asking, and Lucy's heart dropped. Did he mean their relationship or Lucy's own feelings? Fighting the urge to turn back, Lucy stepped into the shadows, clinging to the trunk of an old oak tree. The bark was rough against her palm, grounding her in a moment that felt both terrifying and critical. "Jake, you don't have to worry about me. I'm just having fun," Emily replied, her voice playful, but Lucy could hear a slight tremor underneath. Did she hear insecurity, or was it just her own fear projected onto them? "Fun is one thing, but you know how these things can go. It can get complicated," Jake pressed. She felt a wave of nausea wash over her. Complicated. What did he mean by that? Did he see through the facade she had put up, the act of casual indifference? "Like with you and Lucy?" Emily's voice was softer now, tinged with unease. The air in Lucy's lungs momentarily froze. That was it. She had to step in. This wasn't just about confusion between her sister and Jake, it was about the bonds that had been so carefully built. Her family. Her heart. "Hey!" she called out, stepping boldly into their line of sight. The festival buzz around them swelled back to life, but the three of them stood caught in a moment suspended between joy and anxiety. "Lucy!" Emily exclaimed, her expression shifting from surprise to something akin to relief. But Jake's face from surprise to something unreadable. "What is going on?" Lucy asked, willing herself to sound casual even as her heart raced. Jake opened his mouth but faltered. Lucy felt the weight of his hesitation. It was her moment to steer the conversation, to reclaim her sister's happiness. "I overheard a bit. You guys okay?" She piled on more assurance than she felt, her eyes darting back and forth between them. "I was just asking Em about, well, us," Jake said, and Lucy's stomach twisted. "Us?" The word hung in the air. Her heart ached at the implications, knowing that the possibility of the word could swallow their family whole. Emily glanced between them. Everything is fine, Lucy. Really? We were just talking things out. Lucy wanted to scream, to shake Emily and say this wasn't just about them. But she held back, searching for understanding. But you're my sister. You tell me everything. I want you to be happy, with someone who truly wants you, not just having fun. Jake shifted awkwardly, and the fog of tension thickened, pulling Lucy in different directions. Lucy, it's not what you're thinking, he started to explain, but Lucy could hardly hear him over the pounding in her ears. What was the truth? Did her sister harbor darker feelings for him? Did Jake's heart sway toward her sister, ending whatever bond they shared? No, that's exactly what I'm thinking, Lucy shot back. I just don't want anyone to get hurt. Lucy, Emily began, but something in her voice hinted at uncertainty. Before she could finish, a loud cheer erupted from across the festival grounds. The announcement of the pie contest winners echoed through the air, a sharp reminder of how quickly life could shift. Let us just go back, Lucy said, her voice stronger now, anchoring herself to the moment. We can talk about this later. Just like that, everything changed. Jake's face fell, and Emily looked torn, caught between loyalty and love. But would they unravel their bond here, under the sprawling sky and the weight of their choices? As they walked back together, uncertainty loomed larger and heavier than before, threatening to cast shadows on their future. Lucy took a deep breath, searching for a thread of hope in this chaos. Maybe tonight wouldn't end how she'd envisioned. As she approached the crowd, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Something big was about to unfold, but would they find their way back, or was this the starting point for deeper hurt? The walk back to the festival felt endless. The laughter of festival-goers blended with the sweet and savory scents wafting through the air, but Lucy was numb to it all. Her thoughts spiraled, caught between the conversation they just had and the consequences of the words left unspoken. Emily lagged a step behind, her silence heavy and awkward. Jake didn't venture a word either, as if the space between them had turned into an icy chasm. Lucy felt each heartbeat thud in her ears, a reminder that everything was shifting under their feet. They reached the edge of the festival, decorated stalls and colorful lights shining like a feast for the eyes. For a moment, it felt like they were miles away from the laughter and joy that filled the air. Should we split up? Lucy suggested, her voice breaking the tense silence. It felt like an accusing line drawn in the sand. She didn't want to be near them, but she couldn't just walk away. No. We should stick together, Emily chimed in quickly, her voice almost desperate. Let us just go grab some pie or something. Sure, Jake said, though his voice was subdued, almost defeated. It hurt Lucy. He should have been excited, but instead, he felt distant and removed. As they approached the pie booth, the bright lights cast shadows on their faces, contrasting with the warmth of the festival atmosphere. People lined up, laughing and jostling for the first taste of the award-winning blueberry pie. Lucy kept her eyes focused on the line. The act of choosing cheesecake or blueberry seemed trivial, insignificant against the storm brewing inside their trio. Suddenly Lucy turned to face them. I don't want any pie, she said. How about we just talk? The words spilled out before she could second-guess herself. Lucy, Emily started, but Jake interjected. Let us talk then. He resigned, eyes locking with Lucy's. She could see his own struggle reflected in his gaze. The thin, invisible line between them felt tighter yet more fragile. They cornered themselves near a quieter spot, behind a cluster of brightly colored tarps. The noise faded slightly, a barrier against the crowd. The lights twinkled above like stars, but the magic felt lost in the tension. Emily, are you really okay? Lucy asked, her voice softer now. It felt vital to reach her sister, to peel back the layers of whatever unspoken grievances hid beneath Emily's bright facade. Emily shifted and glanced at Jake as if seeking validation from him for the answer. I guess I'm just trying to figure things out, she finally said, her voice wavering. Figure what out? Lucy pressed, too afraid to tiptoe around it anymore. Him. Us? I don't even know. Emily shouted, her frustration spilling over. It's all so confusing. Lucy felt that familiar ache again, the desire to protect her sister clashing with the need to protect herself. Confusing how? I mean, are you actually into Jake? Or is this just a phase? Lucy felt heat rise in her cheeks as the words left her mouth. She was bearing everything, exposing the very fear that had gripped her heart for too long. Emily dropped her gaze and fiddled with the hem of her jacket. It's not that simple. Maybe it started off as fun, but I just don't know if I can separate that feeling from everything else. Jake stepped forward, trying to interject, but Lucy held up a hand. This is between us, Jake. Just give me a second. Lucy, please, try to understand. Jake's voice was strained. What if I stop? Just let her finish. Lucy snapped, and Jake recoiled, shock and hurt flickering across his face. She didn't want to hurt him, but right now, the revelation felt too close. In the fleeting silence, Emily finally looked up. I really care about him, but I love you too, Luce. This is tearing me apart. It was Lucy's turn to falter. The raw honesty of her sister's words cut through the chaos like a knife, and for a moment, Lucy felt the weight of it all crashing down. They may be strangers in this moment, but they are sisters first. Maybe, Lucy whispered, trembling. Maybe it's time we start being honest with each other, no matter how hard it gets. But before she could finish her thought, a commotion erupted nearby. A loud cheer rang out as a group of contestants paraded down the main lane, celebrating their pie victories. The sound felt foreign, jarring in the emotional stillness between the three of them. See? We should focus on what makes us happy. Jake interjected, trying to pull them back into the lightheartedness of the festivities, yet it felt like he was further distancing himself. Jake, Lucy said slowly, weighing her next words. Is there something you need to say? The air hung thick with unvoiced truths. Each of them stood at a precipice, teetering uncertainly. Jake opened his mouth once more, ready to break the fragile silence with a truth he might not even realize he held. Lucy felt anxious and hopeful all at once, but could they recover from the edges that threatened to tear them apart, or was this breaking point the start of something they could never come back from? The crowd surged around them, a living tide of laughter and celebration that felt entirely out of reach. Lucy stared at Jake and Emily, trying to grasp the enormity of what had just been said. Each heartbeat echoed the truth. They were standing on shifting sand, and she could feel the world tilting beneath her. Let us get back to the fun, Jake urged, his voice a mix of hope and desperation. But Lucy shook her head, the heaviness inside her unrelenting. How can we just pretend it's okay? Emily stepped closer to Lucy, her eyes pleading. We can't ignore this, can we? It's bigger than pie and festivals. It's us. The flickering lights above, so vibrant just moments ago, now felt like oppressive stars in a dark sky. Lucy felt a knot in her stomach, a mix of rage and sorrow. You care about him? But what about us, Emily? The tension crackled like static, the words hanging in the air. Emily swallowed hard, visibly fighting back tears. I don't want to hurt you, Luce. You're my best friend, my sister. I never meant for it to get this complicated. Jake looked between them, the weight of his presence growing heavier. I never wanted any of this, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I mean, I didn't plan to feel this way about either of you. Feel this way? Lucy's words cut through Jake's attempt to ease the tension, her frustration boiling over. You think romance is something you can just test drive? Is that all we are to you? No. That's not I. His words stumbled, and Lucy saw pain flash in his eyes. Stop. Emily interjected, her voice cracking. This isn't helpful. She turned to Lucy, anxiety and fear stamped on her face. But maybe we can find a way through this? Can we talk? Really talk? Lucy clenched her fists, battling the urge to scream, to lash out. And say what? That I've been lying to myself? That I thought we were happy? Maybe we all need to rethink what happy really means. Jake offered softly, stepping back so he wasn't an obstacle between the sisters. Maybe happiness isn't just one person. Maybe it doesn't have to be a choice. The words hung in the air, an uninvited possibility. In that moment, Lucy felt the familiar ache of fear creep in, but also a glimmer of hope. Could they redefine their connections? Could there be a different path where everyone could be whole? Emily reached out, her hand trembling as she touched Lucy's arm. I love you, Luce. You have to know that will never change. And I want you to be happy, too, Lucy responded, the confrontation softening the edges of her heartbreak. But the pain of betrayal still stung sharply. Then let us be honest about what we want, Jake added. Even if it hurts. Lucy took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of courage. Okay, but we have to be ready for the truth, no matter how messy it gets. As the three of them stood there, surrounded by the vibrant chaos of the festival, a confrontation was imminent. They could either run from the turmoil or face it head-on in a whirlwind of emotions that had the power to make or break them, but just as Lucy was about to speak, a sudden explosion of fireworks lit the sky. Vibrant colors burst above their heads, illuminating their faces in fleeting glory. It was breathtaking. Lucy's heart raced, feeling a renewed sense of urgency. This moment, it feels like a sign. We can't keep hiding anymore. Do we fight for what we have, or do we let go? The uncertainty loomed as fireworks crackled, shimmering against the darkness. That electrified moment, clarity washed over her like a sudden rain. Was this the revelation they had all been waiting for, or just another distraction? The air was alive with expectation, and somewhere deep inside, Lucy sensed that the choice they were about to make could change everything. But would they take the leap into uncertainty, or retreat into comfort, fearing the unknown? The fireworks continued to burst overhead, each one igniting a cascade of colors that mirrored the conflict swirling around them. Lucy felt the sparks dance in her chest, but they were as daunting as they were beautiful. She cast a sideways glance at Emily, her best friend, the palpable tension lingering like a heavy fog. They were standing at a crossroad. Maybe we could first just Jake began, but his voice was lost amid a loud crackle, drowning out his uncertain tone. He looked up at the sky, the sharp contrast between the glittering spectacle and the turmoil on their faces made Lucy's heart ache. Stop! Lucy finally yelled over the noise, urgency pushing her. It was as if every firework echoed the unresolved feelings between them, and she couldn't take it anymore. Emily flinched at the burst of sound, the crimson explosions reflected in her eyes. What do you want from us, Luce? She replied, her voice trembling. I don't expect you to understand. No. That's just it, Lucy interjected, her frustration threatening to spill over. I feel like I'm losing both of you, and it hurts more than any firework could light up. Silence fell momentarily, the bright colors dimming in the absence of sound. The crowd around them, lost in their own debauchery, became a distant hum. They were isolated in their emotional storm. Let us be real, Jake said, stepping closer again. We're not the only ones feeling this way. You both know that our feelings are messy. But we need to embrace it instead of pushing it away. The truth hung like an unshed tear. Lucy wanted to lash out, to deny what he was saying, but somehow, deep down, she knew it was true. It felt like their lives were woven together yet frayed at the edges. But how could they unravel this tangled mess without getting hurt? Are you really suggesting we explore this? Lucy mumbled, her heart racing at the idea of it. The thought of Jake possibly loving Emily was like a punch in the gut, yet the possibility both excited and terrified her. Emily let out a shaky breath, glancing at Jake then back to Lucy. We have to figure it out, together. It's either we confront it or we lose what we have. Jake nodded. It's too important to leave unexamined. Just think, we could redefine everything, not limit ourselves to just one idea of happiness. Can we do that? The crowd below erupted into applause just as the final firework cracked bright against the night sky, a reminder of how beautiful chaos could be. Lucy felt the weight of the world press against her chest. The idea wrapped around her like ivy, suffocating yet strangely familiar. Can we really? She whispered, looking into Emily's eyes, searching for the glimmer of her best friend's heart that had always been so steadfast. Emily reached out, their hands brushing against each other, igniting sparks of hope. We can try. I want to let you go without a fight. We shouldn't have to choose. The idea settled in the air, thick and heavy. As Lucy pondered the potential shift in their relationships, she felt something inside her spinning. Would they really open up their hearts to each other, or was this the flame that would only burn them? Okay, Lucy finally said, her resolve fortified like iron. Let us talk. No secrets. No questions left unasked. But do we have what it takes to face the truth of who we really are? The night pulsated around them, as the distant crowd laughed and danced, oblivious to the change brewing right where they stood. The trio faced each other uncertain yet resolute, hopeful yet frightened. But before tensions could shift again, Emily's phone buzzed at her hip. It was a distraction that broke the tension once more, but at a cost. The moment felt suspended, precarious and full of promise. With one look, they all shared a collective understanding. What if that was our final chance? Jake whispered, and they all knew that they were teetering on the edge of something monumental, but as they gathered their thoughts, Lucy couldn't shake a new thought creeping in. Was this truly the beginning of something beautiful, or were they simply stepping into a storm ready to swallow them whole? The festival lights shimmered like stars against a deepening sky, casting a glow on the trio's faces that was both magical and haunting. Lucy, Jake, and Emily stood together, the weight of unvoiced truths pressing heavily upon them. This was the moment. No more hesitation, no more secrets. Okay, Lucy said, swallowing hard, her determination shining through the storm of emotions. It's time to be honest. No more tiptoeing around these feelings. We need to talk, really talk. Jake nodded, his eyes reflecting a mix of hope and uncertainty. I want both of you to know how I feel. But we can only get through this if we're open about everything. Emily took a deep breath, her voice barely more than a whisper. I love you, Lucy. You mean the world to me, but my feelings for Jake are real too. I never intended for things to get so complicated. Tears glistened in Lucy's eyes at her sister's candor. She had worried that Emily's feelings would sever their bond, but hearing that sincerity tugged at her heartstrings instead. And I want you to be happy, Em. But we've always been a team. Are we just going to throw that away? Stepping forward, Jake took Lucy's hand gently. You both have brought so much joy to my life, but it's hard to deny what I feel. I assure you, I care for both of you deeply. We don't have to lose one another through this confusion. The surreal ambience around them was like a cocoon, wrapping their desperate hearts in a fragile layer of reassurance. Fireworks overhead exploded in brilliant colors, a stark contrast to the tumult within. Yet in that moment, it felt as if the universe acknowledged their struggle, giving them the strength to confront what lay ahead. Lucy looked between them, feeling a fire igniting in her heart. Then let us redefine what we are to each other. Let us not let this love tear us apart, but instead weave a new tapestry that honors our connections. Emily's face lit up, the tension in her shoulders lifting. Together? Yes. Together, Lucy affirmed, warmth flooding her chest. It's going to be messy, and we may stumble along the way, but if we truly want this, if we want each other, we can figure it out. There's no handbook for this, but we can make our own rules, Jake said, his voice steady. I want us all to be happy, whatever that looks like. The three stepped closer, wrapped in this fragile new reality. They stood as a unit, a triumvirate of shared hearts, breathing together in disbelief of what they just laid bare. As the last firework sizzled in the night sky, it felt like the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Lucy felt a rush of relief wash over her, a readiness to embrace this chaotic web of emotions. In that moment, laughter erupted around them, accompanied by the triumphant cheers of festival-goers celebrating their connections, whether romantic or platonic. The world around them shifted back into vibrancy, but for Lucy, Jake, and Emily, it now crackled with potential. The sisters drew in a deep, unison breath, comforted by their renewed bond, each of them finding a piece of happiness emerging from the tangled mess. We've got this, Emily whispered, her voice steady, filled with gratitude. And as they smiled at each other, joy illuminating their faces, the weight of uncertainty lifted. They had chosen love, chosen each other. They stepped back into the festival, hand in hand, ready to face whatever came next, hearts open to new joys, new challenges, and a path reshaped by truth. The laughter of their community enveloped them once more, vibrant and alive. This was only the beginning, a new adventure unfolding beneath the glow of Maplewood's night sky. If you've loved this emotional journey, there's more transformation to come. You need to subscribe now to catch our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions, your feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread this inspiring message together.